Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for joining me on this discussion. I'm gonna get right into it. Today, I'll be talking about a phenomenon, I'll call it, of black basketball players dating and having children with white women. There are a lot of other instances where famous black men are dating and marrying white women. You'll see this with football players and rappers, but I want to exclusively talk today about black basketball players, where you can see a pattern pretty clearly, I'd say. And without delving into some of my own opinions, I wanted to approach this with understanding the mindset and kind of the theory of dating white women once in these spotlight positions in the NBA league. First, let's start with empathy. Trying to understand yourself as a young, poor black child from the city of Chicago, Detroit, New York, Memphis, or Baltimore. And these are the cities where most of these players are from, densely populated cities, as you can imagine. You're good at playing sports, and you have a chance to not only make playing sports your career, turning your passion into your job, but you have an ability to make multi millions of dollars from it. You who grew up poor or middle class are now exposed to millions of dollars for the first time in your life. And I mean, what would you do? You have access to things you've dreamed about for so long and actually have the opportunity to get those things. And for a lot of young children in troubling circumstances, these kind of rags to riches stories provide hope that with hard work and talent, you can rise out of poverty and provide for yourself and your family. New peer council. Like those people on My Lottery Dream Home, if any of you watch that show, shout out to you. Suddenly you have access to afford all of the things on your wish list. All of the items are your wish list. There's no need to settle or compromise. You can suddenly have it all. The location, the beachfront view, the movie room, anything, all the excess that you've dreamed of is afforded to you. You grew up thinking that having a sports car is the epitome of luxury. Seeing rich people on TV drive fast sports cars, and you may get a fast sports car. You grew up watching rich people on TV with gold chains, and maybe directly or subconsciously, you emulate that. You emulate these people to fit in with what richness looks like to you. What others around you, your now new peer council, has Rolexes, nice clothes, nice shoes, all the luxurious items that you once associated with this lifestyle of richness and wealth, you can now incorporate in your real life. And I don't want to give the perception that all black basketball players come from this sort of background. In fact, approximately 50% of NBA players are related to current or former elite athletes, which is more than any other professional sport. So there's a lot of nepotism going on, but mainly it's the resources that are already there for already pro basketball players that do have children. But for those who are not related to pro basketball players and are suddenly in a new field of fame and money, this is a new world for them. And so they may start to question things like, what kind of relationships do rich people have? What kind of relationships do my new peers have? What what is there to emulate? Most people desire to fit in with who they feel is in their peer bracket. In most situations, we will copy the quote normal status quo around us that we feel is expected from someone in our position. People on Wall Street working in finance will try to keep up with their peers, working overtime and doing other activities like maybe drugs that align with peers around them. Those working for nonprofits at companies like PETA may try to keep up with their peers by keeping a vegan diet and doing other activities that align with people they see day to day. And this makes sense. When we are interacting with these people day to day, we want to have things in common. We want to assimilate somewhat to create good relationships for us. This makes it easier in our day to day. We may watch the same shows, play similar sports, and do similar hobbies so that we can relate, connect, and discuss these things with our peers. If you want to stay in your position or gain more wealth, you will do anything it takes to place yourself in that position. Does that mean getting Sam Presti as your manager, like 20 of the other most awarded basketball players have done? Does that mean getting Greg Popovich as your personal coach since he coached four of the best players on your team? Does that mean appealing to more ad agencies to get more sponsorships? Does that mean being in a public relationship with a white woman? Maybe. Maybe it's for popularity, maybe it's to be seen in a certain light to appeal to more companies, resulting in more sponsorships and more longevity for your career. Deep into our adulthood, out of school, when there is no teacher, we must prepare for a life of self-reliance. For it becomes necessary for us to acquire new skills as well as generalized responding across novel settings. And we do this by emulating others to understand how to respond to new environments. And a novel setting of being in the MBA, definitely, you need to learn new skills. New skills like money management, PR, public speaking, or coaching, and what norms are expected from your peers. There's a study on success based imitation where it was seen that people seek imitation based on the success other people were observed as having with a given action. If subjects do not know how payoffs are determined, but are informed about the profits and quantities in the market, imitation learning is a good predictor of actual behavior. It makes sense then that these players would rely heavily on imitating others when unaware of this entirely new world. While in some situations, imitation is more pronounced when subjects observe their direct competitors. And looking around at other players on other teams that may have had a longer career in the NBA, you want to emulate that and emulate that success. There may also be a feeling that Black people don't measure up in the same way whites do as far as being successful. And that is because historically, white women have been associated with the rich, educated, wealthy, and desirable upper class. For those players seeking to align with this historically perceived image, they may seek out a white partner. As well, white women were exclusively the representation of beauty and desire in the US for hundreds of years, as the only women to grace magazine and beauty covers. They were the only women shown as a representation of desirability. The revolving door of size 2 blind white women were presented to us in Vogue magazines as the pinnacle of beauty. A blogger writes, white women simply know their worth because society enforces it. It's the allure of having something you know you would never have before. Being rich and in the spotlight, you can now afford quote unquote luxuries that you were never presented with before. And whether that luxury has been constructed to you as something finite or rare, or luxurious simply because it has been seen as something only the rich and wealthy have, you want that luxury to complete your status. Well, you don't, but if you're a Black man who really desires a white woman, maybe this is your mindset. But I don't know. And we may never know. This is just my theory and my opinion. And I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed. This was a shorter one. This was a shorter one simply because my curiosity peaked and I didn't find as many references, actually, as many empirical, I guess, like references. It was a lot of opinions and Reddit articles and stuff like that. And I wanted something more, I guess I wanted something like a little bit different that route. There's a lot of resources on like people's opinions and kind of like Jubilee videos and all that garbage, but I actually wanted to think a little bit more critically about this. So, unfortunately, there's not that many resources, critical resources I found. But I still hope you enjoyed what I put together nonetheless. And thank you for listening. And I hope I see you in the next one.